Okay, let's unpack this. We're diving into something really quite alarming today. It's this escalating water crisis in America, and we're focusing specifically on, well, Lake Mead.
Right, a critical one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There are these new federal projections out, and an article we saw in News 24/7 USA called Lake Mead's Dire Decline, a Water Crisis Unfolding. It paints a pretty stark picture.
It does.
And it affects millions. Potentially, it affects you listening right now.
Absolutely.
So our mission, really, for this deep dive is to try and cut through some of the noise.
Okay.
What are these projections actually saying? Why do they seem, so much more concerning right now?
Yeah, what's changed?
And what does this call to action mean? For the Southwest, sure, but maybe even beyond. Because this isn't just like a quick news hit. We want to get into the details. You really need to be properly informed here.
And it's important, too. The sources, they make it clear right away this isn't just, another dry spell or a bad water year. The way the article frames it, it's more like a pivotal moment. It forces us to think critically about how all our resources are connected.
I have to connect to this, yeah.
And the severity, based on this latest Bureau of Reclamation data, it really hits home how fast a regional problem can, spiral.
Become a national concern?
Potentially, yes. With national implications, it underlines that urgency.
Okay, so what's the core message then, coming out of these sources?
Well, it's pretty unequivocal. Lake Mead's decline. They're calling it more than a drought, it's a wake-up call. That phrase really stands out.
A wake-up call, that's strong language.
It is. And what's really striking, kind of concerning, is that even though there was decent snowpack recently in the Rockies, above average.
Which you'd think would help, right?
Exactly, you'd think so. But these new projections show that rising temperatures means so much more evaporation and more water just soaking into the really dry soil.
So it doesn't even make it to the lake.
Essentially, yes. It's basically canceling out what historically would have led to some recovery for the lake.
Wow. So the whole system is behaving differently.
It's a fundamental shift in the hydrology. Our infrastructure, the dams, the canals, they just weren't designed for this new reality. Which means conservation isn't just like a nice idea anymore. The sources are saying it's the only path forward. It's become essential.
That's a really powerful distinction you made there. Not just a drought, but a new climate reality hitting us. And these projections, the ones from the Bureau of Reclamation, they aren't vague, are they?
No, not at all.
The article lays out this really steep decline. It says Lake Mead could drop another 25 feet by 2027.
25 feet? It's hard to even picture.
Well, to put it in perspective, think about the Statue of Liberty. That's nearly half her height, underwater. That's the scale of drop we might be seeing.
Good grief.
Bringing the lake down to levels we haven't seen since they first filled it after building Hoover Dam.
Exactly. And the sources point to why. It's this compounding effect, Hotter temperatures speeding up evaporation, less runoff from the snowpack that does fall.
Right.
And then you combine that with just relentless demand. Growing cities, agriculture, all needing water from the same shrinking source.
So it's hitting it from both sides, less supply, more demand.
Precisely. And that's why the article is so blunt, saying conservation isn't optional anymore. The whole system is just under incredible stress, unprecedented stress.
So that brings us to that really chilling question the article raises. What will we do when the taps run dry?
Yeah.
What does it suggest are the sort of immediate impacts? Maybe the ones we don't think about as much, beyond just turning on the faucet.
Well, it's definitely not a rhetorical question in the article. It's deadly serious. Obviously, it directly threatens the main water supply for huge places, Las Vegas, Phoenix, lots of communities.
The drinking water, yeah.
But, and this is crucial, it also hits the hydropower from Hoover Dam. Massive amounts of electricity are generated there.
The power connection, I mentioned that earlier.
Exactly. And that power serves millions across the Southwest, too. So you're not just talking about water to drink or use at home.
You're talking lights out.
You're talking about reliable electricity for homes, for businesses, and then indirectly think about agriculture across the whole region that depends on that water and that power.
Right. Farming needs both.
It does. So the economic impacts, the social disruption, it ripples out far, far beyond the lake itself.
That really brings it back to you listening to this. This isn't just numbers on a page.
No.
It's the actual gravity of that phrase, when the taps run dry. Yeah. It forces you to reflect, doesn't it, on what this means personally, but also for all of us collectively.
Yeah, the shared implications.
It feels very immediate, very concerning. Highlights just how interconnected and maybe fragile our resources really are.
And that raises, I think, a really important question for all of us to chew on based on what we've just discussed from these sources.
Okay, what's that?
Beyond what you or I can do, like taking shorter showers or whatever, what are the bigger adjustments?
Societal adjustments.
Yeah, long-term societal changes, infrastructural changes. What might actually become necessary as these projections, these quite dire projections, start looking more like reality?
You mean like fundamentally changing how we manage water or power?
Exactly. Or even things like population distribution, maybe. How we grow, where we grow. When you face this kind of critical resource depletion, it demands thinking on a much bigger scale than just personal conservation. It really makes you pause, you know.
It does.
How much of our modern life is completely intertwined with something as basic as one huge lake, and what a profound challenge this decline poses to, well, everything we've built. Makes you think.